Hi there. I know my audio is really terrible on this, so I'm going to try to speak loudly. Um, but otherwise, you're just going to have to turn up the volume to hear me. I would like to say a little bit about my trip in Mexico now that I have my camera with the memory card, so I can make longer videos. I still don't have an editing software that is compatible with YouTube, so this will just be really raw and uncut. But when I first got back from Mexico, I realized something, and that I mean, a lot of people think that I just think this way because of my bias toward Mexican culture, but I think that it's something to at least think about. I got to the Houston airport where my layover was, and I realized that the people were just cold. Everybody was out to take care of themselves, and nobody seemed to be concerned with anybody else. And it was very cold and individualistic. Of course, Americans are individualists, and it is a capitalist country, and I just I feel like I belong more in Mexico, where I'm not a native, and that's just because of their culture. I think just walking along the streets amongst total strangers, you can feel more of a sense of belonging with them than with your own American citizens. Um, just because the attitude is much more collectivist, and people just, they don't seem to be so out to serve themselves. And that was one thing that I really noticed, and that made it really hard because I was flying back alone. And that made it really hard to, you know, end my trip and then just be thrown back into the culture, and it just it's part of the reverse culture shock that a lot of people go through after living in another country. And it's definitely something that I can relate to if anybody else out there has felt it. I also had to get used to using my own language because in Mexico I'd use Spanish, and it was very odd to be amongst a crowd that is speaking pure English. I was used to being amongst crowds that spoke Spanish, and so the murmur of Spanish in the background was comforting, and it felt fine. And then getting into the Houston airport, everybody in the queue lines was speaking English, and it was really overwhelming for some reason. I'm not sure why that was overwhelming because I should be used to that, but I just, it was too much English for my ears. Just like when you first get to Mexico, it's too much Spanish because you don't understand it. Well, so then there was this Mexican family in the queue line. Well, they were of Hispanic descent, but they were in the American citizen queue line, and they were speaking Spanish, and so I was glad that they were right behind me in the queue line because that was comforting to hear them. But yeah, Americans, just a little bit colder, a little more individualistic. Of course, I mean, I live up in Minnesota, so of course there are the share of nice people and kind souls, and I'm not saying that's not here. I just note that there's more of it in Mexico, and I miss that. I really do. It's been over a month since I've been back in the United States, and I've already started classes here at college, and I haven't really had much time to sit around and make videos. Actually, you can't hear it, but my alarm is going off right now telling me to go to class. So I'll try to make more videos and put them up if anybody's interested even in my videos. I've got like 3 subscribers. But just comment if you found this in the least interesting, or tell me something that you want me to talk about. I'll see you later.